So behind that desire or that fear, there's maybe a desire for security, maybe a sense of wholeness, a sense of joy, a sense of passion. What is it? And as we recognize that, acknowledge the underlying desire for good, then we can start to do our prayer work. We can work on our consciousness to get away from the fear-based thoughts, the false way of thinking of limitation, and open up to ways to experience that good in the most constructive way. Now, in talking about this job with this wonderful VP, I got to see how my inner committee went to work when we were notified at one point. We were given 2 years' notice that all of our organization was going to be shut down and the work was going to be, most of it, sent offshore, like so many companies did. And it was about 6 months before my final date, which was the day that the office closed, that through my meditation practice, I started to notice that these fear-based thoughts would come up around the ending of my job, and I didn't want to pay attention to them. So I would suddenly just really focus on my breath, or I would suddenly just go off into fantasy. And over time, I really noticed that and went, what's going on here? And as I really observed it, I realized, okay, here's what's happening. There are these fears. The basic fear was, you will never get another job like this, ever, ever, ever. That was the basic fear. And that led to one committee member that was saying, because you're so afraid of not getting a job that when you get your severance pay, you're not going to want to deal with it, so you're just going to forget about it and you're going to go out and you're just going to spend all your money and not look for another job, and then you're going to be left penniless on the street. Okay. That voice wanted me to be a good steward. It knew that part of me that didn't want to deal with things. I thought that was a valid concern to hear. On the other hand, there was this voice of, oh yeah, just because you're so scared you're not going to get another job, when a job comes up, you're going to grab it. It's going to be an awful job, but you're not going to care. You're just going to be miserable for the rest of your life. Okay, I know that sometimes out of desperation we latch on to something that doesn't really serve us. That's a valid point. Suddenly the committee didn't have to yell anymore. And I got to see what the concern was. Now I knew where I had to build my consciousness. And I recognized there were some real deep-seated fears around a loss that wouldn't be recreated in some new way. And went very far back. I won't bore you with all the details, but that's when I realized I need to do my work. I upped the ante on my practitioner sessions with my practitioner. I worked with a therapist. It was all about building the consciousness to know that no matter where I am, there will always be this essence of spirit that is there to give of itself and to be of value to others. And 6 months later, from doing that work, I was with a colleague as we closed the door for the last time on the office, and 3 days later, I was driving to a new job that was beyond any expectations I had in terms of the joy, the fulfillment. This job, right?